Hello everybody and welcome back. What on earth have I got to show you today? I'm just full of stuff, ain't I? Alright, this is nothing new. This has been out for a while, but this is called pin stitching. And if you've never done it before, it's a lot of fun. It's basically embroidery on cardstock. So I've got a good cardstock. It's not super heavy, but it's heavy enough. And you punch all the holes. You put something behind it, such as this mat right here. This is a piercing mat. If you don't have a mat, you can use a foamy. I've got a foamy, a well-loved foamy sheet here. You can get these at the Dollar Tree. But I like this. This is specifically for pin stitching. See all the holes in it? And so what you do is you will have a pattern that you're looking at. Let me see if I can show you. This is one of my patterns. This is an 8-petal flower, and this pattern gives you different ways to stitch it. See, I want this pattern onto here. You know, I want to put this pattern onto the cardstock. So what I would do is I would just kind of, I'm just going to kind of eyeball that. I'm going to line that up. I'm going to take a pokey tool. This is a little Dollar Tree one. I wouldn't recommend these. If you push too hard, that point goes up in the plastic shaft. And I've had to pull it out, an E6000, one of them. And I don't know if it's going to work. But anyway, you go and you poke all the little holes through the pattern, through your cardstock. And this one has letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, okay? So I just poked all the way A through N, and then I'm going to go over here, and of course you'll just continue. Now all these don't have A, B, C, D, E and all that written on them, but you can figure that out as you go along. So I'm going to continue poking all the way through, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've poked all the holes through, so now we can take it off. And see, there's my cardstock. It's got the holes poked in it, and it is ready to be stitched. So we're going to take some embroidery thread. Now, if you want to use something like yarns, like this came out of a stitching kit that I picked up at a thrift store. These are great. They're kind of tiny. You know, it's not a real heavy yarn, and it has, let's see, there's 3 strings on each piece here. So one string would be only that big. So that's not very big. That would be great. But if you wanted to use something even that thick, you would just have to use a bigger awl, you know, make your holes a lot larger. But for this, I'm probably just going to use maybe this dark pink, or you could go with a variegated thread, but I don't think I have one. I don't have a variegated. So I'm just going to use this, and you can choose how many how many pieces, plies to use. Let me show you what some of these look like that will help you choose how many plies you want. This one I used 3, the whole thing. It's all done with 3 strands. Let's see, that's the same pattern. This pattern, you can see, and these, by the way, I think I got them all off of Pinterest. But this pattern, I have punched through it onto here. So that's to be stitched. I know you can't really see that on here, but it's going to be the birds on a fence. That'll be that one. Here's a dragonfly that I punched, but I haven't stitched it yet, so I want to do that one too. Here's a picture of a finished one that I think this one came off of Pinterest. And you can stitch these petals. You can stitch them straight from hole to hole, or you can stitch them like every 5th hole or every 6th hole, and you'll end up with this kind of a spirograph looking design, which is so cool. Here's another pattern. That's what the pattern looks like. That's what the finished product looks like, and here it is in color. Now that's a beginner one. It's very, very simple. It's just straight from here to hole, from here to the hole. I mean, it's just straight. Very, very easy. If you choose one thread, one ply, you could make little tiny delicate, these are like little leaves. This leaf is done, I thought that was so pretty how that came out. One ply, just one thread. It could even be sewing thread. This is a little star or whatever, and it's done with one thread. Now for this one I used gold metallic. Of course you really can't see that too much in the picture, but I did. This is just a little design that I stitched up. There's a little shell and little leaves and just little stuff. I mean, look how cute that is. Can you see the pattern there? Maybe not. It's not showing up real well. This one I used different colors. So for that little leaf, this is the butterfly pattern. This is a large butterfly that I've already punched that I'm going to do. Look at the pansies you can do. Isn't that pretty? Very, very pretty. If you search for pin stitching on pin stitching on Pinterest, I believe it's what I looked under. This one they made into a birthday card. So they did the stitching, but they also added beads, long bugle beads, which I think is a great idea. I love that idea. And also, let me show you this. This is, do you remember the old spirograph? If you're my age, you might remember it. This is done totally different. Now this one just has holes. You have to have an even number of holes all the way around. And you just start stitching like 1 to 10, and then 2 to 11, and 3 to 12 or whatever. And you just stitch it around. This one came out really good. I was real happy with that one. This one I messed up a little bit. Somewhere I got off track and see it ended up not quite. But anyway, you can do that without a pattern. All you got to do is have a circle template, or just draw a circle around the bottom of something, and just draw an even number of holes. Okay, so anyway, let's take, so I'm going to say we might go ahead and do 3 strands here. Okay, so for the needle, this is my new needle book. I just made this. Let me see if I think I got some big ones in here. You're going to want a pretty, don't go overboard, but large enough eye needle to get those 3 strands out. I think that'll do. So this is the size needle I'm going to use. I don't know if you can even see that, but just the smallest one you can find that'll you'll still be able to get those 3 strands through. Okay, so to start out with, you're going to take the tail end of your thread and you have a piece of tape. So all you got to do is tape it onto the back side. All right, here's my needle and my thread. Now we're going to go back and look at the pattern and just decide which one we want to do. This one, this one, this one, because they're all going to be different stitches done differently. And I kind of like this first one, so I think I'm going to go with that one. All right, so the first one says to stitch A to D. Okay, so that's how you start. I know you probably can't see that, but it says stitch A to D, B to E, C to F, and so on. All right, so A is right in the very center. So I'm going to come up from the back in the very center. And I'm going to look at the pattern. It says A, B, C, D. Okay, so if this is A, B, C, D, all right, then I'm going to go down on D. And then if this is A, then this is B. All right, it's right next to it. So I'm going to come up on B, which is there, and I'm going to go down on what? E. And you really don't even have to go A, B, C, D anymore. Just look at the next one. All right, I came up there, so you know this one is next. You know, whichever one you came up last, you want to come up the next one. And then whichever one you went down, you'll go down on the next one. So just look at where your last thread is coming up, and then you want to come up on the very next one. Uh-oh, I pulled it out of my hand. And then go down here. Now as you start making a curve, you're going to start seeing the pattern, which is so cool. If you like spirograph type things or string art, this would be so cool. All right, so basically I'm coming up 1 and going 2, 3, 4. Go down on 4. I hope that makes sense. See our pattern starting to emerge? All right, so I'm going to come up on the next one. We'll carry, it's twice I pulled it out of my hand, go down on 4. Look at our pattern. Look what it's doing on the end. How cool is that? All right, now we're going to keep going around. Well, yeah, we'll just keep going around. That's okay. I was going to change it up, but no, I don't want to make it difficult. Come up, go down. Come up, go down. All right, so I'm going to finish one petal with you, and then I'm going to finish the rest of it and come back and show you what it looks like finished, so you don't have to watch me stitch one by one. All right, now when you get to the end, it says the last one is K to N, which is K to N, that's what I just did, and then L to A. So go back, you go all the way back in, go one more stitch, then you think you're through. Go one more stitch, and it goes back into the center A. All right, now we're ready to do this petal. So we're just going to do that all the way around. And I tell you something, when you finish that first petal, you're going down in A, and then it says to start the next one in A. Well, you can't, because you just went down in A. So instead of, you're coming through the bottom of A, you're going to have to do this one backwards. So this one will come up at the top, and then you'll count, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll go down at 4. So this one will actually start from the back. Each stitch will start from the back, and it will come around 2, 3, 4. So we'll see what happens when I get to petal 3. Okay, so as I finish petal 2, I'm coming up through A, and I got to go down right there. So see, now I can come back up through A. So every other petal will be the same. So this one, you start from the top, the second one will be from the bottom, the third one will be top, and the fourth one will be bottom. So you just keep going back and forth. Okay, so here we are. I have finished it. Let me see if I can get it up there close enough that you can see. And on the end, on the back, you just tape off the ends. Now I had to change my thread 3 different times because I ran out of thread. So it's a good way to use up your stash. Now you can add a bead or some bling or something to the middle. I would trim this up and make it, square it up really good, and do some fancy corners or ink the edges. It'd make a great pocket or a tag, or just do it on a page, on a journal page, or on your journal covers. Could be a lot of fun. Now this pattern went A to D, remember, A to D, so that is including 4 holes, A, B, C, and D. If you went A to E, that'd be 5 holes. That would change the looks. If you went every 6th hole, it would change the look. It would make these corners, everywhere there's a corner, it would cross further down in, So it's just unlimited what you can do. Now this pattern here, the second one, they're just stitching A to B, B to C, C to D. So it's just straight stitching, just like you were doing embroidery. You just little bitty stitches. This one here, they are going this outline, then they're adding these lines across. So that would just be, adding lines straight across. This one is probably the easiest one of all. You start from any hole and you go to the middle. Go to the next hole, go to the middle, go to the next hole, go to the middle. So your middle's going to have to be pretty big, before you get through with that. But anyway, that's just some ideas. Now, according to how you do it, you could use the same pattern and make so many. You could make them up as you go. You can make so many different ideas. So anyway, this is just something I wanted to share with you. maybe you can give it a try. I hope I didn't make it look difficult or complicated with the pattern, because it's not. You can scrap the pattern and just say, you know what, I'm going to come up in the middle and I'm going to go down every 4 holes. Then I'm going to come up in the next hole and I'm going to go down 4. It's the same thing all the way around. So I hope you'll give it a try. Let me know if you make it. Have fun with it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.